Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boy.
Hello, friends, and hello, foes, and welcome to the Comedianons. It's a podcast we tried to start with 13, but here we are 9 years later, giving it a red-hot go again. My name is Josh, and joining me, as always, is the Everyman. He's the man who was such an everyman that he had a show called, where he was called Jono the Everyman Steal Us, and he was a steel yard worker? I don't know. Makes sense to me. Someone told me. I'm sure it's true. It's Jono.
Yes, it is. That was a very visual gag on my behalf for any of the audio. Now, I'm a very bloodshot head hiding under the desk. But yes, I do have a show called Steel Man, Steel Yard. Yeah, that's
Steel Man, Steel Yard, Steal Us.
I actually have black blood that's rushed to my head. I thought it would be funny to hide under the desk when Josh did the intro and throw him off.
A fantastic joke that only half people are going to get if we even put this thing as video.
Oh, 100% not even worth putting on TikTok already.
It's not even worth it, no.
So it made you giggle. Okay. It made you giggle and that's it.
It maybe threw me off, for sure. You got me there.
But Joshua, something happened to me very recently. And,
oh, really? Tell me all about it.
Well, I'm going to tell you all about it later. You know, you have to wait a couple of segments down. You've got to watch them up first. But it's something that stemmed from this major activity that triggered a story in my mind. I was backing out of my driveway, and for reasons that will become clear later on, construction workers were actually helping me back out of the driveway because there was trucks and stuff. I had to move my car, so there was a guy standing behind me, and he was like using his hands like keep coming, stop. Kind of like if you go to get a COVID test, if you've been in the drive-in ones, you do that thing. I swear they play a game where it's like keep coming, and I'm like, I'm in this guy's boot, and he's like, no, keep coming.
Anytime that you're being guided in like a car park or one of those things where it's like people are guiding you through it feels like they're gonna play a prank on you. It doesn't feel right ever.
No, that's right. I reckon they are. I reckon they just do it and they see who actually, like, who chickens out and who just keeps going until they actually hit the car in front of them.
Yeah. They can keep going, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah, we got it.
Bang!
And they go, no, I said stop.
Idiot, he pushed. Well, we said stop. We had a hand up. No, you had to keep going. No, we had a hand out.
I reckon that's what they're doing. But what that made me think of, was this thing happened not too long ago. It was back just before this final lockdown, right? The final lockdown.
Years ago.
Yeah, years ago. Which would, I don't know, it was take us back to end of June, I think. And I was going on a big trip with the absolute squad, right? The Frisbee squad.
the nerd squad.
The nerd squad was going on a road trip.
The
nerd
elite
squad hits
Frisbee,
the road.
Extreme discus mobility squad.
Rep team. Yeah, we're heading up from Melbourne's one of Melbourne's bottom tier universities. And we're heading up to Cobram, which is right on the Murray. It's one of the border towns.
North.
And I drive one of the swishest cars on the market, also known as an entry-level Hyundai. And
classic entry-level Hyundai. Yep.
It's an absolute piece of kit. And going on this big trip, I wanted to make sure that everything was spick and span with the little vehicle, right? Make sure that we're all good. And by make sure that we're all good, I mean sit in the car and go, yep, seems good.
Exactly. Because what else would a millennial do that isn't into cars, you know?
Yeah, exactly. What else
sit
are you
there, you go, this feels right. I don't know if
I actually opened the bonnet. I opened the bonnet. Very ambitious. Extremely ambitious.
You know what it reminds me of? Not to distract from your story, Jono, but you know, like in school we had like that. It was like we had a thing like in like year 9 where we do
like the
different
year 9 like
attention
attention program to like keep you engaged.
Extra activities. It was an extra activity. We called it Ramek or something.
Yeah.
But the point was there was one session. So there was a mix of like really good sessions where we do a fun thing.
Yeah, like wheelchair basketball, rock climbing,
interesting sessions. Yeah. And then there were dumb sessions, right? And
before we get into the one that you were going to say, some of the dumb sessions, I remember they targeted us like nature walk. But what we did, we went down the local creek and we picked up rubbish. There was some other ones. Yeah, there was some like okay stuff where you'd like go and help out in a classroom, but there was some real stinkers.
there were some real stinkers. There was obviously also just boring ones for year 9 kids. Like there was the alcohol one. There was a CPR one, which was good, but you know what I mean. There was stuff at school, and there was cool stuff that wasn't necessarily in class.
That's right.
One of the ones that I remember was the repairman just walked down from like the corner of campus and just walked us up to like some red garage on campus.
Like a maintenance shed in the schoolyard.
Some old wizened bloke was going, all right, we'll pop up the trunk.
And he had like a Ford from like 1998.
Exactly. It's one of those ones where like we were in like groups of like 20 or something, I reckon. And I reckon of a group of 20 boys, because this was just when it was
like just a boys' school,
No, it was not a co-ed at this point. It came co-ed later, and that's no interest. But I just thought I'd say that. But we were all boys, so I would say maybe let's say like a quarter of people might have been interested in the inner working of a car.
Yeah, definitely. We had like a racing car driver in my class.
Yeah, true. And I genuinely can tell you right now, I don't remember a single thing he said.
No.
Because he would just point to a thing, and he'd tell us what that does. Then he'd point to another thing, and he'd tell us what that does. And then he'd show us where you put the oil in, and he'd show you where to put the brake fluid in. And I'm going to be honest, that hasn't helped me a peep since. I wish I'd listened to it more further.
The fact that brakes need fluid just don't make no sense.
It makes no sense. But I'm sure it's important.
Opening the bonnet of my car was extremely ambitious, right? I don't remember what that bloke in the like the mower shed taught me. But I thought, okay, we're all good. We're about a week out. I drive to work, and I started realizing, oh no, I don't think we're all good anymore. Something started to not feel right, and it was whenever I went over like a speed bump, I'm like, okay, something's wrong with one of the wheels. I get to work, park up, I get out. Sure enough, the front left tire, it's got a puncture, right? I can't see anything in it, but I can tell that's probably about only 90% of the air.
It's one of those things we can see it's been a bit flatter.
Yeah, it just doesn't look right?
Right.
Anyway,
I wouldn't know again. That's no clue about cars.
See,
but I'll take you.
Maybe I was paying attention.
Maybe you were paying a little bit of attention.
I go into work, come back 7 hours later, and like when I went into work, I'm like, I'll deal with that when I come out. Go into work, completely forget about it. Come out, driving home, and I'm like, oh no, it's the tire, and it's been sitting there for 7 or 8 hours, losing air, and it was not good. It felt like I was driving on a rim. What I should have done, stopped, but I'm like, you know what? We'll just turn the music up a bit louder so I can't hear this noise.
Let's not think about it.
And the problem went away. Anyway, I get home and we're at like 15% air, just using my eyes. I'm like, this ain't good. Anyway, Dad helps me take the tire off. By that, I mean Dad took the tire off while I went inside.
I watched you watch. It's like when I do stuff it's like when I'm doing stuff with my bike and my dad will come and help me, and I'll be like, all right, here, I'll just start doing this. Like, yeah, Joey, you do it like this, and then he'll slowly put it. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna stand back and let the person who wants to do it because.
And I knew that was gonna happen, so I just go inside. I'm like watching you at this point.
No, because I feel like I'm too disingenuous if I do that. I feel like at least you got to be like a bloke who's helping some guy pulled off on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Right. It's probably something to do with the left cadmium radio, flux capacitor. You want to flick that thing and plug it in there instead. It's emitting a strange sound. We're going to cut the car RCV, but don't worry, I'm a bloke. I could probably figure it out.
Yeah. See, you're the kind of guy that we definitely don't need around. But we take this tire up to the Hyundai dealer because they can do like just a quick puncture repair.
Right. And
they found that there was a screw. And I remember telling you at the time that they found a screw in my tire, and you actually said, "Who put it in there?"
I mean, it's just because the opposite is who left a screw upright like that on the. How was there a screw upright on the road?
I know.
Where did
it was
that
a big one as well. It's like the size of like a reasonably tall person's
I now know what this
like a little pinky finger. And they're like, it's actually, I know this is weird because circles are round, but it was in like the corner of the tire. If you think of a tire, you notice it's kind of like a corner.
If you like put a little square in the middle of the tire and then chose one of the corners, you mean?
Yeah, that's where it would be. It was like kind of like the edge. And they're like, we can't fix this puncture because it's on the edge and it's a pressure point. I'm like, okay, I'll take your word for it. And
this is something I totally understand.
Yeah, I believe them. Anyway, Dad's kind of like, oh yeah, that actually like makes a lot of sense. So I had blokey bloke. That's right,
would
from
make
the country.
sense to that person. Yeah.
We then figure out we actually have to take it and get new tires. And apparently, if one of your tires you have to get new, you have to get the other one new as well, because you can't have one 3-year-old tire and one new tire, or the grip will be off. Apparently. So I have to do the nightmare thing, and I have to book it into like this tire shop.
Right.
And I have a severe dose of parking anxiety. I will go on Google Earth and look at what the parking situation is weeks in advance of going somewhere new. And I did that. You've been with me
to go with you places, and I've watched you figure out where you're going to park beforehand. And
because it makes it a lot easier on the day.
I mean, sure, but I'm going to be honest. I would not do that.
I've got a lot of time at the moment, Josh. I'm working part-time. I've got a lot of spare time.
Makes both of us.
Yeah. So I look on Google Maps, and I'm like, oh no. And to set the scene, it's one of those roads where there's like 3 lanes going each way, and in the middle there's like parking, right? So I'm thinking, okay, that's good. But then I realize, I'm actually dropping my car off. I need to actually go into the car park. And it's in like a semi-industrial kind of area. And it's those awful shops where there's like a tiny car park for like that should only fit 2 cars, but they've got like 4 car spots in there.
Right, yeah.
Just off the main jag.
Got you.
I have to go in there. By pure luck, I'm the only car in the car park. Amazing, right? Drive in, park it.
So lucky.
No dramas. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this spot. But we deal with that when we get to it, right?
Right.
Yeah. 2 hours later, go back to get the car. Sure enough, the car park is now full, right? Full.
Yeah.
And I go in there to get the keys, and there's a lady in front of me who's picking up her car. She's like a young mum. She's got like 3 kids with her, right? And the guy giving the keys back goes, oh, you know what? We'll get one of the guys to pull the car out for you. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm saved.
Right. Because you're not going to say no to this. Because let's be honest, if someone's going to say yes,
100%.
they're probably going to know more about it than me. I'm going to always say yes.
Exactly. So he says to that lady, oh yeah, we'll get someone to pull it out. And I watch them go, and they pull her car out for her. I'm like,
oh
amazing.
No, they asked her.
They asked her.
Okay.
But at this point, you see where this is going. But at this point, I'm thinking they just do it. I get to the desk. He gives me. He's about to give me the keys, and he goes, "Oh, he's looking at the lady, and he's like, oh, you'll be fine to pull your own car out, won't you, mate?"
Oh no!
And this was my opportunity to go. Oh, look, maybe if you could help me, that would be good. That's all it would have taken. Yeah, exactly. That's all it would have taken, and he would have done it.
Right. A normal human would be, "Hey, man, no, I'm not confident."
Yeah, and he would have been fine.
Which
but I've gone. Yeah, I've gone. Yep. Sure. And he throws me the keys, and I catch it, and my stomach just sinks. I'm like, oh no. And unfortunately, her car, I was praying it was next to mine or behind me. It's not. It was on the opposite side.
It's on the other side.
So I'm walking to my car just thinking, and it's literally one of these spots where you would have to, there's not enough room to actually pull the whole car out. It's a back and fill situation. And I'm walking to the car, and my savior appears. This old man's walking in, and he goes, oh, I'll guide you out. And I've just gone, yes, this is great, right? He's going to do the hand thing we're talking about earlier.
He's going to do the hand thing.
Keep coming.
Classic hand thing.
And I get in the car, I've got my window down, and he's not using his hands. He's just standing there on his walking stick, and he's guiding me with his voice, right? Because I've got the window down. He's like, keep coming. And then I'll pull out, bit of silence, and he'll be like, all right, now go back in. And I'll go back in, adjust. I keep coming out. We'll do that a little bit, right? And then he goes, all right, come out. So I'm pulling out. I don't hear anything, right? He's not saying stop, so I keep going. I'm looking in the mirror. I'm like, okay, I'm getting too close. I don't know where he is. I need to like stop. Right. So I stop, and then I look to see where he is, right? Because he said to come out. He didn't say stop. He said to come out. And I turn around. He's walking into the store. He's just left me high and dry. He's like, okay, come out. No. And then halfway through the instruction, he's just gone back in the shop.
Because on top of that as well, like now that you've announced to the guy the fact that, hey man, yeah, I'll be fine, I'll do it. Everyone's always got like a third eye on you. Like you can't help
but feel like
it's
probably a spectator sport that they do.
It's almost just like a look on the outside going, how's that young guy doing?
They probably see the P plates and go, they see the P plates and go, okay, ego, high, skills, probably low, perfect guy to try and do this.
Jono, not to peel back the veneer of the podcast, which, let's be honest, the veneer's already been peeled back a lot.
What's veneer? Is it like the skin of a banana?
The face of something. The veneer, like to peel back the
facade.
Veil. To peel back the veil or the facade, any of those things of the podcast a bit more. We nearly weren't going to record on the night that we're recording this.
We weren't. We definitely don't record, so we're 1 week ahead, and we definitely weren't thinking of using that as a week off. Yeah, we were a little crook.
We nearly did. It wouldn't have been the same though. I'll say that for sure, Jono.
Yeah.
But obviously I was feeling a bit crook. You were feeling a bit crook, and I think that as someone who's now an adult and is in this full-time job where when you get sick, it feels weird because when it's at school, you don't really there's not really much accountability. There is some accountability, but it's more the fact that you're not accountable on the day that you're sick.
Yeah, exactly.
You might have to call in.
You have to get your mum to call the office, and that's about it. Yeah.
You basically have to. You're accountable once you get back, and they go, "Where have you been?" or "Do you have a note for you?" And then you give the note, right?
Yeah.
But in the case of when you're at work, the first thing that panics me is the fact that suddenly you have to give them a call or you have to do it. Luckily, my voice sounded like a frog, so it was very easy for me to show
that's
for them to hear that I was that sick.
Yeah. Because you don't want to be like, "Hey man, not feeling good today."
It was like me going, "Hey, mom."
Yeah, good.
But obviously, what I've realized is in these last few days, maybe this is different for some people, but like, I feel like that's a pretty quick like pull out of sickness, right? From like 4 days, that feels like a pretty good rate of getting out of sick.
Definitely.
Obviously, you go through being COVID times. You go and you take your test. Obviously,
you got to get to the isolation period.
You got to do the isolation. Wasn't that long, thank God.
I did it as well, by the way. We're both sick. Yeah. I'm all good.
We're both healthy. We're both still talking in Discord. I don't know why people still we have to explain this to people, but it's true.
Yeah, it's actually surprising. We have had multiple, and I mean multiple people think we're breaking COVID restrictions.
And I'll tell you what, it's nice to hear that they think that our audio is better than it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It does not sound good to us sometimes.
When you said that, you broke up. But if you look at any of the TikToks, we are in very different places.
Very different places.
My hypothesis is the first episode, the audio was so terrible, it was obvious we were
comparatively,
recording it. Yeah. And then they've listened to it again when we've actually got proper microphones and stuff, and we've worked out how to record well, and we've selected all the settings right, and it actually works well. But yeah, believe it or not, we are about 15 kilometers apart.
Right. Who would know? And I think I've realized that like there's different levels of sickness, and as you get better, you peel back the veneers. There's peak sickness, which is when you're really sick. You're
like bedridden.
In bedridden, and you'll get up, but you're in that moment of like, I can barely comprehend what's happening right now.
Yeah,
I don't really
you're
care.
a bit out of it, and like you walk to the kitchen and you get a bit puffed out, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. You're a bit out of it, and then there's like the sequential sick. To the point where I'm always at the point right now for me where my sickness is just, I have enough of a sickness that I can take some medicine and I'll be pretty much fine, And that's the peak. That's a good part of getting out of it, right?
Yeah. You're like, I'm still not better, but I can function like a normal human being.
I'm still not
you
better.
You might get a little bit tired if you're up and about, but it's manageable and it doesn't really impact you.
I might not be better. I might not be immediately better, but I'm better. I'm good enough that I can't get out of work.
Yeah, right? that's a shame.
Good enough that I can't get out of work.
Yeah,
I have to be honest with myself.
You'd just be lying there feeling guilty if you did try and get out of work.
As part of this, obviously, I had to organize a telehealth call with my doctor.
No.
I've never had to do this before.
That's like a whole.
You can't really go out to the doctor, especially I'm still waiting for my I was still waiting for my COVID thing, so I was keeping myself in like a good citizen should, and as part of that. I was like, well, crap, I can't go out to go to the doctor. I guess I just have to. I have to get a telehealth. And the problem is, I called in the morning, and I was like, hey, I just wanted to see if I could get a doctor's. It's really just to make sure I get a medical certificate for work, right?
Of course.
Or just rattle off my things. A lot of that thing is just, rattle off your symptoms, and if the doctor says, yeah, it's probably just a flu, mate, you're probably fine.
Yeah,
just like, that's great. That's what
cold.
I need to hear.
Yeah.
I don't need to hear anything more. I just need to know that it's fine. Right?
He's like, yeah, bro, tuberculosis. Like,
tuberculosis.
No.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I think you got cancer. What?
Imagine finding out. You're just trying to pull a sick from work, and turns out you actually really.
No, that's one of those things where, like, if you get sick and you're not sick, you're not better in a week, then you start worrying.
Yeah, that's when you go.
The thing was, I called the receptionist, and receptionists are the worst. I hate receptionists. I've been a receptionist. I hate being a receptionist. I did a receptionist.
Medical ones, especially medical
ones.
Yeah,
and they're usually I'm not going to take. It's going to be, but they tend to be the middle-aged
tread
men and
carefully,
women,
my friend. Tread carefully.
Not always, but the point is, you'll get these calls, and they're quickly trying to figure out what you want immediately.
Yeah, they're like assessing you on the phone.
And I'm like trying to stumble through my words to figure out what I want. It takes me like 2 minutes to say I want a doctor's appointment. I want telehealth. And at some point they say, "Did you mean meningitis?" No, I meant a medical. I'm stumbling through my words trying to figure out what the hell I meant to say.
I need a medical certificate. They're like, "No, you've got meningitis."
I'm just out of it. I'm just out of it trying to stumble through, and my dad screams from behind me, telehealth, tell him you want telehealth. Like, right, yeah, no, telehealth. And he's like, oh, of course. And then I'm talking to them at like 9 o'clock, and they go, right, the doctor will see you at 2:30.
Oh my goodness.
Great. I have to sit here all day with my phone next to me, worrying that at some point I'm going to call. Because let's be honest, it's 2:30 or like 15 minutes either side.
So is maybe the doctor going to call you?
The doctor calls me.
Oh, that's so much worse.
I'm sitting there at my desk. Half the time I'm lying down because I'm out of it as hell.
Yeah.
But when I am, I'm sitting up because I'm like, crap, if I'm not up, I'm going to ruin it. I'm going to have to call again, and I don't want to call again. I'm going to have to call again on the weekend. And that's even worse. If I miss the call, I'm like,
you don't want to do that.
That's going to be even worse. So I'm sitting here going, oh my God, my mind is breaking apart in sickness. And I'm sitting here, I've got like, I've got something on the screen waiting, and I'm waiting, and I give up. I pick up my phone, I walk into the other room, and I'm sitting, and then I hear a call. I'm like, thank God.
Yeah. Here we go.
And then they go, and I call, and they go, yep, okay. What symptoms do you want? And I say the symptoms. Great. You want a medical symptom? Great. 30 seconds. Can't you do something? Why do I have to wait basically a whole day? I have to wait a whole day waiting for my phone to buzz. It's time for this.
I don't have much knowledge, but boy, if I did, I'd get all the questions right in this quiz.
Jono, the book is out, the notepad's out. You saw me noting this before the show, which means there could only be one thing, which is a quiz.
It's quiz time, baby. Let's go.
It's exciting, isn't it? It's always exciting when there's a quiz on the docket. I'll say that. Exactly. Maybe a slightly late quiz. But, Jono, I was thinking, at the top of the show, do you remember how I introed you, particularly?
I was hiding under the desk, and you said I was a steel worker.
Yep. But before that, I called you an everyman.
I'm an everyman.
I'd like to believe that. I'd like to believe you're an everyman.
I think I'm an everyman. A common man,
but no one's ever questioned that.
That's true.
We'll see how.
That's true.
No one's ever questioned that.
Okay,
I wouldn't deny you of that title.
All right.
But I feel like we haven't done the appropriate tests yet.
Oh no, I've got to do an exam.
I've thought of a couple of things, and this might be the first of a couple. But I thought, Jono, what's the classic everyman test? Do you know the prices of groceries at the shops?
Oh my goodness.
So Jono, I've got 5 items here. I want to stress a couple things about this.
Okay.
I've got 5 items here that I want you to guess.
My heart rate's going.
You're going to need within 50 cents. 50
cents, like either side? I can be 50 cents under or above.
I think a true everyman can get pretty on the ball with prices.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know, I've gone pretty basic, and if we might come back to this and do some more difficult items.
Yep,
because
gotcha.
just to really get a good sense of your everymanness.
But these are like common stuff that like just
these are more or less common stuff
every person
that
would use.
Everyone might get from the supermarket.
Okay,
this is. I will say I went to my local supermarket, which means it was the one that had the sign.
Oh yeah.
From last time, and we might get to that in another podcast because there's more to say about that. But I think we'll just get going. I've got 5 here. You need 50 cents either side, and I'll tell you what, Johnny, 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
Okay.
I'll say that's a good first step to proving your everymanness.
Do I have any lifelines?
You have no lifelines.
No lifelines.
No lifelines. Not a single lifeline.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
There's no lifelines in this game because you're trying to really get to the core of your everymanness.
I do want to point out that in the overall standings of the quiz, you're on 9 points and I'm on 4. So I need Jono, 5 to
you gotta get
everyone
these 5.
to even it out.
You get these 5s and you even up the point standings of general quiz points.
I
don't know why we're counting points overall, but I think this is funny.
I think it's funny.
All right, Jono. Are you ready for your first item?
I am.
This is a grain classic loaf. It's got grain in it.
Oh, okay.
It's a loaf of bread sliced for toast.
Sliced for toast. It's from the supermarket?
It's from the supermarket.
Yep. It's like a multi-grain?
Yes.
I think I need to ask a few qualifying questions if that's okay.
You may.
Is it name brand, home brand? What kind of brand is it?
I would say this is home brand. I'd call it home brand, but it's one of those supermarkets where they do have like an area where you can see they're baking bread. If that helps you or not. That's what I would. That's how I would.
The ones that they bake are usually kind of expensive, on the pricey side. I'm going to go in and say bread is usually less than a $5 note, and it's usually on the lower end. I'd say the multi-grain kind of or original grain or whatever it is probably going to be slightly on the upper end of the cheap bread. So I'm going to go and say $3.75.
$3.75. Nah. You're incorrect. You're pressing the wrong sound effect. Unfortunately, Jono, it's $4.69.
Oh, that's a real shame, that is.
You've undercut it, is what you've done there. I heard you say 5. You said the $5 note. I was excited. I thought you were going to get there.
in the right direction.
You're in the right direction. You started pretty strongly.
Yeah.
And that's not good. You have to get the rest of all of these questions.
I've got to get all of them right now. Oh, no.
I could have put a little X next to that.
He's got one right.
Permanent record. Jono, okay.
Question 2.
A family Toblerone.
Oh my goodness.
Family Toblerone.
I've never bought Toblerone ever.
From the chocolate set. I thought it was just an interesting one to go with.
Yep.
So
I want to
stress
big, like meter long ones that they sell at the airport?
Not the giant ones. Those ones that are probably like the size that you would probably get someone for like Christmas or something.
Like a Kris Kringle present.
Yeah, I would say that.
How many people do you think it could feed? If you were like having tea and having a chocolate.
I reckon one of these big chocolate triangles is enough for one person. And there's probably 12. It's a good chocolate. It's a good size. It's a good size. I think it's probably like 400 grams or something.
Okay, so I'm going to go off a block of chocolate is around $4.80, $5. And I'd say Toblerone, if this is like their equivalent of like a chocolate block, so let's start with the $5 mark. Then I say it's big, it's chunky, it's novel, it's fun, it's Toblerone. We're going to add a little bit of cash. I'm going to say $7.30. No.
John, I'm sorry. It's $12.99.
Oh my goodness!
For this chunky Toblerone. This is a chunky Toblerone. It's $12.99 for this chunky Toblerone. I'm sorry, John. I don't know, because I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't. But there you go. Not a good. It's brutal. Jono, we're going to take it home because I think these next ones, these are key ones, and I reckon you're going to be good at these next ones. Those were two shock ones. You've already broken. You can't equal me.
Oh my goodness!
Can you really pull it together to get a couple points on here?
For those Hamish and Andy listeners, I'm fighting to not be the Simpsons guy here.
Jono, I thought you were the Everyman. I thought you could be the Everyman. I'm gonna give you.
Everyman buys $13 Toblerone.
I don't know. And Everyman could have a Toblerone. You know, it's not about what you buy. It's about the theory of buying.
Oh,
Jono,
okay.
This one, I'm gonna bring you back to some core.
Okay, good. Hopefully.
2 liter full cream milk. 2 liter
$2.
full cream milk.
$2.10. $2.10. No.
$5.30.
No.
$5.30.
That is incorrect. What kind of milk are you buying?
I'm gonna double check the legend on this one.
If we can find a $2.10 milk,
it's a 2 liter.
Is this an IGA?
It may, yeah.
I was going closer. Woolworth.
There we go.
Nah. I'm doing my own research. Let's have a 20-second podcast break.
I see on Coles, it says it's the home brand full cream milk, and it says $2.39.
And that's within
I'll tell you what, Jono,
my $2.10.
I'll give you that. And
thank you, Joshua.
I'll give you the point on that one as a technical point. I'm going to put a T in front of it, but I'll put a tick. All right, Jono. 2 more to go. I've given you the technical point. I've crossed out the X in here.
I knew I was right. I fought for my marks.
239. I'll allow it. Allow it.
Yep. Thank you.
Now we get to the core. Okay.
Yep.
Eggs. We're talking a 12 carton. Classic 12 carton.
12 carton of eggs.
From Gippsland. Because these are the ones that I saw.
Yep.
There you go. What do you think?
12 carton of eggs. Wow.
What are you looking at? What are you doing? What are you doing there? What are you doing? Get out of there. No cheating. No cheating.
May I
no cheating.
What
no
brand
cheating.
are these eggs?
No. I will say is they're not home brand.
I will say $5.
$7.69.
Oh, don't you hate it when you cheat but you're still wrong?
I'm almost tempted to take away the technical point of that one. I won't.
I looked at Woolies eggs, $4.50, and I'm like, this guy's going to the world's most expensive non-common man.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with this. I'm going to be honest. I'm starting to think that this is.
You're getting scammed.
There's something up. This is a bad supermarket. I got to go to the Coles or something. Fucking IGA,
yeah, exactly.
Man. Maybe this is realizing this IGA's got some problems. This is the same where they had the sign.
I think we've got some issues been pulled over your eyes.
Look, next time we'll give it. I'll give you a fair shake next time. But we're going to continue going to finish up this question.
Final question.
I'll tell you what, Jono.
Yeah.
You get this point. I'll give you a thumbs up.
Okay.
I'll just give you a nice happy smile and a thumbs up.
Fantastic.
You get the point. You'll feel better about yourself because you only really have a technical point.
I'll feel like a hero. Yeah.
You only really have a technical point. And as much as it begrudges me to give you the technical point, you've corrected me. And
all right,
really, I've got some
supermarket
issues with
item do we have now?
The worst part is this, it's IGA, which is like the opposite of bougie.
Yeah, they're unnecessarily expensive. We're finding out.
Yeah, unnecessarily. Jono, to get this is. I see you putting your hands up, ready to type.
No, don't worry.
Hands up. Put your hands on behind your head. Behind your head. Get your hands behind your head. All right.
Okay, Google.
Jono, it's a 24 pack of toilet paper.
24 pack of toilet paper.
Okay.
Printer didn't work. Oh no, it doesn't show on the first screen. IGA toilet paper.
Cheat.
That IGA have a real. I've clicked on IGA toilet paper and it's taking me to Western Star butter spread. Oh no!
All right, yeah, get it out of here.
12 pack of toilet paper.
12 pack of toilet paper.
How many ply? Hands are on my head.
Hold on. Do you want me to check?
Okay, let's just say it's 4 ply. I'm gonna
We'll say it's 4 ply. I'll check it.
560.
560, you say?
No. I will admit I've never bought toilet paper before.
Bruh. These is embossed. I don't know what embossed. I know that just has to do with this. This is $11.39.
No, I'll take the L on that one. I have no idea how much the payment costs. Joshua, I had something.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, mes amis.
Ça va?
Ich bin Jonathan. During this week, during our lockdown, I had something interesting happen to me. I actually did a thing. I did something.
You did a thing.
I did a thing.
You did a thing
for
that's
other
great.
people. Amazing.
Oh, that's a nice thing. That's a nice thing to do. That's a good thing to do.
It wasn't really like I did something for someone else. I did something and other people were involved. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. I wasn't a hero. Right. I wasn't saving the children.
Oh,
instead I was
that's
probably
a shame.
boring
I don't
the
have
children.
any interest in this story now. So,
yeah,
I'll go. Do you want to talk to the people? How do you want to do this?
I'll talk to the people. Our comedy fans. Our comedy stands.
Comedy stands. Oh, that's good. Wow. Comedy stomps.
What a coinage.
Comedy stands. I like that.
Yeah, there we go. But
the comedy stands.
I've got to the end of my degree, and RMIT. My degree is pretty small, and RMIT, or maybe we should bleep that. No, blow it. RMIT have decided to use our cohort.
You've got RMIT
I do. I've got the sweater on.
I feel like it's hard to bleep at this point. I feel like we've probably said it already.
RMIT decides, because we've got a relatively small cohort, to use our cohort as the marketing team for the high school kids and stuff that advertise the degree. And I actually think it's a really good idea, given you've got the right student. I think, to be honest, and I apologize in advance, there are a lot of students who would unadvertise the degree by going back and talking to their school. But anyway, I am, maybe you can tell by the fact that I do a podcast, I really have an unnatural love for public speaking. I really enjoy it. I think it's fun getting up there and telling a story. Who would have guessed?
You know, the funny thing about, can I say the funny thing about that? Not to derail us already.
Yeah.
But you're like, the great thing about a podcast is that I love public speaking. I've done very little public speaking, but I think that's because there's always a perception that if you don't talk a lot to out loud in like the school,
that you're not
that kind of person. But as soon as you get me with people that I want, I can't shut up.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. When you're in a comfortable environment. And so I contacted the school that we used to go to, particularly the geography teacher, and we hadn't talked for like 4 years or whatever, and he was super excited to hear from me, and he couldn't believe it. Like I could see through his email that he was just beaming, right? It was one of his ex-students had come to talk to him, and we managed to set up this talk, and the uni suggests maybe like 10-20 minute speech. He said, could you run for a whole period, which is 45 to 50 minutes.
That's a lot of time.
That is crazy, but we're going to go for it. And I like public speaking, but that was nerve-wracking, right? I devised this,
of course it would be,
crazy presentation, right? All these different things. I threw some little Snapchats and stuff that happened during the degree to try and keep it more interesting and more personable. And I think I did a good job of just not getting up there and just going, this is this, you learned this. I was blatantly honest. I was just getting up there as a friend more than anything.
This is not the same thing, but I remember in the time that we were at high school, you know how you go to high school.
Yep.
That there have been some shocking returning student.
Yeah, speeches. They come back and they're like, oh no.
Just brutal ones that you can't really understand, but just become just the funniest memes.
Yeah, exactly.
Student cohort. But luckily, if you're one that's doing the speeches, you're unlikely to even know what the joke is.
You probably think you're doing well.
I remember some guy came to our school and made some reference to that. Life is like a cake, and if you eat it,
life is a pie.
Take pieces out. Life is a pie. I don't remember it, but I remember it being funny. I remember laughing about it.
Because there's no such thing as you only pie once. That was his speech.
Yeah.
He's saying it doesn't matter if you burn it, because you can always cook another pie. But I'm hoping that I was one of the good public speakers.
I imagine you're better than that.
I set the scene. It's the morning of, and as someone who doesn't get nervous before these speeches, I was extremely nervous because I'm like, every time I tried to run and practice, I couldn't get through it without just getting just exhausted trying to run for so long without having a break. And anyway, I'm sitting there. The presentation's at 11 o'clock. I'm at my desk here where I am posted up in the front of the house, front window. I'm about 3 meters from the street. And these trucks start pulling up. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? No. And they put this letter in our letterbox, and I go and open it, and they're fixing what's called the crossover. Now, if you're not sure what that is, it's if you think of like the footpath and the driveway, there's a part where your driveway runs over the footpath. So it's technically not your driveway. It's like owned by the council because it goes across the footpath, right?
Wait, can you explain that a bit better?
But if you're walking on a footpath and you go past someone's house, there's a part where you're no longer walking on the footpath, but that's where their car backs out, right? It's kind of like the driveway, but it's also kind of the footpath. That's called a crossover. Yeah.
Oh, that's in between the ramp and the whole where the house.
Yeah, so it's like the rampy footpathy bit. It's called the crossover. And it turns out that they're redoing a couple of the crossovers in this section of the street.
That's not going to make a lot of noise or anything.
Oh, exactly. We're 15 minutes before this presentation now, and they haven't started doing anything or whatever. And before any big speech, you log into the Zoom with the organizer and you do an audio test. Now, I was lucky enough that this meeting was actually recorded, and I have live footage, and I'm going to play you a clip from testing this audio. And at this stage, it's quiet. There's trucks and stuff, and they're like, all right, just say a couple of things, just testing, 1, 2, 3 kind of thing. And I'm going to play that test for you now.
Fantastic.
All right, so this is an audio test to see what it's like if I'm talking with it's like.
Now that was actual footage.
Oh God!
Of the sound that was picked up from my microphone during the audio test, and it starts out. You can hear this really big, loud.
Audio test to see what it's like.
And then the audio just breaks up at the end. I'm talking all the way through that for 12 seconds. You can just hear, this is an audio test. And it absolutely butchers it. We're like 15 minutes out from the presentation.
I'm sure that went well.
Oh my goodness. I'm thinking, what am I going to do? So they're like, okay, you're probably going to have to like move. And I'm like, yeah, obviously. So I pack my stuff up and I go as far to the back of the house as I possibly can and still be in Wi-Fi range. You could still hear it, but it wasn't overpowering or whatever. You could kind of block it out. But I'm a big believer for stuff like this of playing the game the way that you trained, right? And they say in exams, when you're doing practice exams, don't practice them at night. Practice them in the afternoon when the test is. Try and meet game conditions. And I'd been rehearsing having the people up on my laptop screen and then having my notes and stuff in one corner of my monitor and having all these windows open. So I needed my two monitor set up, my keyboard and mouse.
Yep.
So I'm like, at this point, we've got like 10 minutes to the presentation. We go out the back. I set up my laptop and I'm like, I've got time. I come back to the front of the house, clock's ticking. I unplug all my cables and stuff, move the whole computer,
moving all your stuff.
Yeah, and I just move and put my whole setup on the kitchen table. But that was a bit crazy. I'm like, I need game conditions. I was in a different spot. The geography teacher ended up personally giving me a $50 gift voucher. So I think I did a good job.
To see it. Good stuff.
Joshua, there we go. The end of another episode of the Committee Knowledge. An absolute crazy one at that.
Manic episode.
I remember we got to the end. Get here. We said last week that it was a bit of a loopy one, and when I was editing it, I could definitely tell that both you and I were running on empty. This week, it's almost been, I think, the opposite.
Like making up. We've like made it up for low energy last time.
Yeah, exactly. We've been making.
What I will say is maybe a banger of a podcast.
I would like to have a big shout out to the 7 people that have listened to last week's episode, and I really appreciate it. You guys have a special place in my heart.